Hey, what's up, you guys? I hope you are having a blessed up day. And if you're not, I know that this message today is going to bless you up. But before we get started, we are doing 30 days of February is all dedicated towards self-appreciation, towards building your self-worth. And so if you are loving these live streams, make sure you're sharing them with your people. Go ahead and share that button right now. Let people know we're about to talk about building self-worth and self-appreciation. Today we're talking about sarcasm. Now this one, I can relate to all of them. I grew up with an Italian lineage bloodline in me, so being cynical and sarcastic were literally our love languages. If you come from that type of a bloodline, like that background, sarcasm and being cynical is literally like our form of a love language until it's not. So what's up, Lilani? So today we're talking about how to, if you are somebody who is cynical or who is very sarcastic, you're going to learn today how to transmute that into being honest and learning how to use your words and how to be more loyal towards yourself and the way that you want to express yourself in the world, in your business, in your relationships, and in your life. Sarcasm is saying something and meaning the opposite with your tonality, with your body posture, and saying something in a negative way and putting yourself down. So yes, these are ways of how most people can communicate, but most importantly, remember, these next 30 days is really about taking ownership and how you're treating yourself. Sometimes when it comes to being sarcastic, one of the opposites is being able to receive a compliment or to be able to receive information without shutting it down or joking about it or putting yourself down when you're having a dialogue with somebody. So it's a doubtful outlook on a situation and a lack of faith in humanity due to negative experiences, distrust, and unresolved issues in your tissues. Our body is our subconscious, and one thing about it is that our cells carry memory. And I'm not going to be getting all science on you guys today, but it's something called a cellular impression. So when we have negative experiences, when we have past things that are unresolved, they will store inside of our bodies. Inside of our body is our subconscious, and our cells hold on to memories called cellular memory. And experiences can create cellular impressions within us. And there is a way called cellular memory releasing where there's different tools and strategies. I'm going to share one with you to prevent you projecting out any more future unnecessary cellular impressions or cellular memories that you don't want to keep or you don't want to attract in your future. So I'm going to teach you an exercise that I do where I'm very intentional with my words and I'm very thoughtful with my words, especially having a conversation with somebody that might want to trigger that. I'm sure some people do want to trigger the negative out of you. I'm not going to pretend that that doesn't. Some people thrive off of getting you angry or getting you irritated, and it's literally like their life mission. But because we're not focusing on anybody else but becoming a better human being, then that's all our focus is in on for this month. So an exercise I'm going to share with you today it's called the 8-second rule that I personally use. I teach this to my circle, to my inner circle, and also my clients is when I'm processing a negative thought and emotion and I'm around somebody in a conversation or just their being, just their energy triggers something inside of me in a negative way, I do something called an 8-second count. So instead of, for me, you guys, I grew up playing ice hockey, so I got that aggressive side of me. I'm like, let's go, what'd you say? What'd you say? I put on my hood, I'm like, what'd you say to me? You ready? But I'm mature now, and so I like to be emotionally intelligent and not try to fight everybody that triggers me. So I have this 8-second count where I will literally count backwards for 8 seconds when I feel a trigger within me versus just projecting out and vomiting out words because I feel I'm in defense mode. So have you ever felt energetically your body shuts down and you just want to defend yourself? Well, that doesn't do anything positive. And because this is a whole thing about self-appreciation and being honest with your feelings, being loyal to yourself and to your character and to the type of human being that you want to show up in business and life and your relationships, then to be aligned with that, to be aligned to what you want and how you're behaving and the words that you're speaking and the thoughts that you're having. So the 8-second count is I will literally just go 8 in my head. I will not say a word. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. It takes about 8 seconds for your nervous system to register to your brain and to process what was just said. It takes 8 seconds. So if you give yourself this 8-second rule, you don't have to respond right away. I think as a society we're conditioned, like you have everything you have to, like they come at me, I gotta come back at them, like let's go. Like, no, you can like process things. There is a whole 9-step system that I teach my inner circle, my clients, and I personally learned from my coaches to process negative thoughts and emotions. But when I want to be reactive, when I want to be sarcastic, when I'm about to be cynical, and I know that nothing good comes out of me in a negative state of energy, in a negative thought experience, that I just take that 8 seconds, and it is so magical. Like, I want you guys to use this 8 seconds and come back and let me know how your experience went. And not to make other people uncomfortable, but when you just pause and you don't say anything and you keep a solid heart posture versus caving in, and you keep a solid heart posture, you'd be so surprised how so many things just get resolved by just like pausing for a moment and breathing before speaking and making sure that your words and your actions or your thoughts are in alignment. This is a whole era and a whole paradigm shift of an alignment culture. So if you've come from the hustle culture, it's time to really step into the alignment culture. And that's the whole point of to give you the month of February of self-appreciation and getting really clear on how you want to treat yourself, because how you treat yourself is just going to be a mere reflection of the boundaries that other people will then start to have, like the boundaries that you've set for other people. So if you are disrespecting yourself consistently, energetically, vibrationally, other people are going to feel that, and they're going to treat you the same way because they already can feel you have no boundaries. They can feel that you're easily defensive. They can feel that you're all these other things. So the best thing you can do is learn to master yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, so that people can't even cross into your force field. You've like automatically put on this force field because you're in control of what you say, what you feel, what you're putting out into the world, and nobody can take that from you. That's just with you and God. Nobody can take that from you. And there's a three-step process that I had become very aware of over 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. And then I realized that it can be applied to every single area of my life. And it's been very helpful for many of my students, many of my clients. And it is a 3-step formula to transforming any area in your life, in your business, in your relationships. And it's the first thing is being honest. So it's being honest with, man, I'm feeling very defensive right now. I'm feeling triggered. I'm feeling angry. There's nothing wrong with negative thoughts. They're just information. So it's information trying to get to you, maybe based on a past experience and a memory that was brought to the surface. Remember, we talked about that cellular impression. That is now has that memory. Your subconscious is like fight or flight mode, and it has the memories, and it's trying to give you an information that, hey, you're not safe, or hey, this is this and this. And instead of being reactive, you're just going to take a moment to be more mindful and aware of what's going on. I mean, of course, listen, if you're in danger or you're in a space of harassment or all this other stuff, like be very smart about it, be intentional, like do what you got to do. But for the most cases and most situations, this stuff can be applied. So number one, you're going to be honest and you're going to be aware. This is where your superpower starts to happen. Then you're going to become curious about what you're feeling, why you've been triggered, why you're being sarcastic, why you are not using your words and you're just being in defense mode, or you're putting yourself down. I'll give an example in a second. So being curious versus judgmental, like, where did the sarcasm come from? Where did I learn this from? I just told you, like, my mom's side of the family is all Italian. Like, sarcasm has been in our bloodline. It's just the love language of, like, heated Italians. But I'm like, wait, I don't want to be sarcastic. Like, this doesn't feel good inside my heart. It doesn't feel good. I like to be more intentional, and I like to express how I'm feeling, and I want to understand why something just triggered me or upset me. And I want to be able to use my words that are in alignment with the type of woman that I choose to show up in every single day. Because that's what I have control over. I have control over bringing more light into humanity. I have control over being somebody of high integrity. I have control over my core values and me showing people what core values are and being that. You know, like, and so, like, you have the decision of how you are choosing to appreciate yourself. Because at the end of the day, you have to look yourself in the mirror every single day. So you might as well learn how to be somebody of high value and of high worth, and to enjoy the life that you have, because it's such a gift. Your presence is a gift. And it's time that you begin to start treating it as that my life is a gift. This breath is a gift. I received this breath today. Like, what a gift. Today I get to choose differently. And then you're coming from a space of seeking out solutions. And if you've just been practicing sarcasm your whole life, now you can start to practice the opposite, which is being open-minded and creating new experiences. And part of the new experiences is learning how to collaborate with other people, to create networks with people that are having the same core values. That was one of the main reasons why I created the inner circle. I wanted to create an enriched ecosystem of other people that were doing the real personal growth and development, not just the mental, but the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, the wholeness of the human body. The human existence is not just physical. It's not just mental. It's not just emotional, and it's not just spiritual. It's everything. When we are not taking care of our bodies and we are consistently numbing it with people, places, and things, with food, alcohol, and all these other things, we cannot be completely connected to God. We cannot be completely, like, emotionally stable. We cannot be completely mentally strong and healthy. If you listen to the other days of these live streams, I talked about when you're in this space of, what did we talk about? Being judgmental. We talked about self-bullying. We talked about being critical and picking on yourself. We talked about whining, and we talked about self-depreciation. It creates depression, anxiety, split personality. So there are consequences to when you are treating yourself a certain way and when you're behaving a certain way. For the long term, there are negative side effects that are only going to hurt you. Now today, as we're talking about transitioning, being cynical, which is looking at the negative of everything, one of my favorite words that I had adapted in 2020 was pronoia. Pronoia is that everything is working out for my highest and greatest good. Even though sometimes bad things happen to me, I've learned a positive experience, or I established a characteristic that I would have never had if it wasn't for that lesson. And so how can I transition my pain into personal power and utilize that for the highest and greatest good? So even when bad things happen to us, sometimes that's the only way we're going to learn something beautiful from it, or establish a personality trait or a characteristic that we would have never established if it wasn't for the friction in our life. It's kind of like working out. When you work out and you're really lifting heavy to build muscle, you have to tear down muscle fibers in order to allow them to repair through recovery, and then you build these beautiful lean muscles. It doesn't just happen by like not having any contrast or not having pressure imposed upon the muscle group. It's the same thing with our strength, our mental strength, our emotional strength, our physical strength, our spiritual strength. And when we come out on the other side of that, you become stronger. You get back up. You keep going. You finish what you came out for. And when this is getting into being enthusiastic, the opposite of being cynical and sarcastic is to be enthusiastic, because sarcasm is always thinking, like, going into a situation doubtful. It's not going to work out for me, or what's the point of me doing this? Well, go into it enthusiastic. What if it all does work out for me? What's the best case scenario? What is the lesson that I'm learning from this? What is the feedback I'm receiving to sharpen my skill, to sharpen my axe? Abe Lincoln said, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend the first 4 sharpening my axe. How are you sharpening your axe every single day? You take these things, and even if it's not your being, your personality trait is not who you are. It's a learned behavior. It's a learned way of operating over X amount of time, typically like 18, 20, 25 years, but you can learn how to behave differently. You can learn how to process negative thoughts and manage your emotional state in a completely different way. It's a muscle. It requires practice. It requires intentionality. It requires time. It requires effort. Catching yourself, reframing it, shape-shifting it, and think of it every single day as practice. You're this athlete, and this is your sport, and every single day you're sharpening your axe, you're sharpening your skill set in order to become a master at this. So start to become somebody who is enthusiastic. And if you look versus somebody who's always shutting down people, places, and things, or shutting down opportunities. And one of my favorite ways of explaining personality traits and character is think of actors and actresses. And I explain this to my clients a lot, and this completely clicks with every single one of them. They love it when I explain it like this. Is say that you are an actor and actress, and you are studying to play a role in a specific movie. In order to do this, you study how their body language is, how they carry themselves, what they dress, how they present themselves, how they speak, what their accent is, like where they hang out, what their environment's like, their inner environment of their home or their outer environment of the places they go to. We are creatures of habit, and so there is a certain pattern that happens. And so when you're trying to study becoming a new character of somebody who is of high value, where do high value people hang out? Where do wealthy people hang out? Where do people that are healthy hang out? What do they do on their off time? Where do they go? What restaurants do they eat at? Like, majority of the time, okay? Because, you know, sometimes people have, like, they need stimulation, so they go and, like, do things, whatever. That's a whole nother conversation. But there are typically 85% of the time is consistent patterns, consistent behaviors, consistent daily methods of operation. And if you start to study that and then you instill that as your own, your DMOs, your daily methods of operation, and how you're showing up, your routines, the way that you are conversing, the conversations you're having, where you're investing your time, your money, your energy, eventually all starts to become habitual. So when you're in the process of change, it becomes very uncomfortable because it requires time, energy, effort until it becomes habitual. A habit just means effort on autopilot. But in the beginning, as we're making shifts and changes, it requires a lot of mental energy. That's why our brain starts to hurt, because I think they said something like 40% of our day is run on autopilot. 40% of our day is run on autopilot. or maybe it's 60%, something like that. I gotta go look up the facts, but it's almost 50% of our day is run on auto. So when you're changing a behavior, you're changing a segment of your personality, because it can be changed through awareness. That's the power behind journaling. The power of breath is it gives you a moment to pull back so you can look at things from a larger perspective, versus being so reactive and caught up in the emotion. That's what sarcasm is just like so quick, because you're so defensive. You don't have a moment to actually see clarity, and maybe there's a lesson in all of this. Maybe I'm being closed-minded. Maybe I'm feeling super defensive and I'm feeling triggered. So let me use my words. But I know if I'm not clear on my words, let me take a moment and breathe. Let me take a moment and count to 8. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I use my words, because I have a moment to process what just happened. It takes 8 seconds for your brain to just process what happened when somebody says something to you. And then also being sarcastic is a passive-aggressive behavior. So it's like saying something that you didn't even mean. You're meaning the complete opposite of it. So say what you mean and mean what you say. Choose your words, process them, learn to receive compliments, look for the good or the lessons, be optimistic, believe that good things will happen for your future. Pronoia, claim it. Everything works for my highest and greatest good. Things are always working out for me, even in the moment if it seems bad or it seems that painful. I know in the long game, everything is working out for me. Everything is working out for my highest and greatest good. All things are conspiring in my favor. Start speaking life into yourself, and eventually you will speak life into other people, because people are consistently watching you. And your presence is a gift if you treat it as a gift. You can learn to trust yourself and your ability to make aligned decisions for your highest and greatest good. I hope you guys enjoyed today's live stream. Thank you so much. I love you too. I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. I hope that it blessed you up and you received some type of value and self-awareness. If you want this directly in your email, just make sure that you subscribe, tanyacoliver.com/calendar. You receive the email. I have everything written in there as well. We are on day 6 of 30 days of self-appreciation and building your self-worth. You guys, self-worth is really an inner job. It is the way that we treat ourselves. It's things like this, the self-awareness, the honesty, being intentional, being in a line, making a decision on who you want to be, how you want to live, how you want to show up. And over time, typically it's about a year to build out a brand new foundation, depending on how many years you need to course correct and reparent yourself and learn how to be an elite human being. Your whole life is going to shift for the better. You can create a heaven on earth, but it does require being intentional, being honest, and thank you, and just operating at higher levels of consciousness. So make sure you share this post. What you could really do if you really love me is share this post on your social platform. Let your friends know what we're up to. Also, inside of this, I'm giving you the PDF in your email. So you have this 2-page PDF of 30 days of what all these things are. For me, I personally like everything in one. I'm like, give me the playbook and then let's break it down. I want it all. I like to see what we're working towards. So I also, just out of respect for you guys, I've done the same. So make sure that you get inside the email. You're going to receive this. You're also going to receive the breakdown of the day. Make sure you take care of yourself and let me know how all of this is working out for you. All right, you guys, have a blessed up day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye. Thank you for the love. I love you guys too.